I'm Dean Horton from Bristow, Oklahoma. In early 2014, some friends were getting a Colorado trip up with side-by-sides. So my wife and I went to a dealer. We was actually looking for a Prowler. So we went in and told the dealer, said, hey, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for a Prowler. So we looked at several. She was over by the windows, and I looked over at her and I said, well, what do you think? She said, I'll take that blue one in the back, which wasn't a Prowler, was this Wildcat. So we took it home, made several little trips around, and then in the last of July, we went to Colorado. We got out there on I think it was a Saturday, and made a trip over the mountains on Sunday. Monday morning, she had a heart attack and passed away. So it was a long trip home. So Andy and I's made a few trips with it back out there. In fact, in 17, I guess we got out there and the spark arrestor stopped up on the thing and nobody knew what was going on with it. Finally, somebody told him that he thought it was a spark arrestor. So anyhow, we changed the muffler and still had a problem with it running too rich and was loading up and everything. So finally somebody told him change the spark plugs. Anyhow, we changed the spark plugs in it and hadn't had any problem with it since. We really liked the ride. We've had a little bit of problem with the steering, which you guys can fix. But we'd really appreciate it if we'd get picked on this deal. Thank you guys very much.
When we first entered the contest, I'd actually entered it the year before and made the finals, and just wasn't quite lucky enough to make the draw. We always joke that if there's ever a 50-50 chance, I'm gonna lose. So Dad was a little bit reluctant to get in front of the camera. Pretty much forced him into the shop and set him down in front of the Wildcat and got him to make his video. We were about to head for Clinton, Arkansas, the chuck wagon races, and we were leaving the next day, and the deadline for the videos was while we were gone. So we had basically one shot. We had one day left to submit the video. And so we ran out and shot the video, and I ran back in the house and I threw it together and I just sent it. Dad never actually saw the finished product. In fact, he never saw it until after he won. I believe it was September 15th is when they actually had the drawing, and the reason I remember that is because I was actually photographing for the Tulsa Air and Space Museum, and they had one of the B-29s was in. And I got caught up in my work. I completely forgot about the contest and what was going on, and Dad did the same thing. He was kind of donating his time. He took his team and wagon to a parade. We ended up going and getting together to go eat dinner after that. Neither one of us thought about it. We managed to get all the way back home. I actually thought of it later that night, and it was probably 11 o'clock at night, and I realized, neither one of us had gotten a phone call, an email, or a text, or a Facebook message, or anything like that. So I really just assumed that somebody else had won it. But I knew they were going to do Facebook Live of the drawing. I actually got on the MLS Facebook page and found where they were having the drawing and watched it back and nearly fell over when I actually saw them draw my dad's name. They were dancing in the kitchen like a couple of little kids.
This is the last day that old Blue is going to be sitting here as we know her. We are headed for Kentucky tomorrow, and we are gonna make an extra trip out to MLS. Well, she's gonna be theirs for a while. It's been rode hard and put up wet. I still can't believe that Dad won that. It's gonna be incredible. I can't wait to see what they do with this. The remnants of our little meltdown on the side of the mountain. Probably the last time we're gonna be seeing that stuff. Our old lights and stuff bolted everywhere. My crappy wiring job. Our old rack, my crappy welding job. Last look.
We had a chuck wagon race that we were going to go to in Murray, Kentucky the next week. So we got a hold of Mark and the guys at MLS and told them we'd be coming up there. So we went ahead and brought the Wildcat behind us. We had hooked it on behind Dad's 41-foot Sundowner trailer that he rebuilt that was wrecked. So it looked like a freight train going down the road. And so we towed the big trailer to Murray and we unhooked, left the horses and everything there. And the next morning we got up early and we headed for Georgetown. You know, and having never been through there before, never been from Murray to Georgetown, we asked the event organizer of the chuck wagon races what was the best way to go. He told us you can't get there from here, you have to go somewhere else first. And I think that was accurate because we punched that into Google Maps and that GPS took us on the goose chase you wouldn't believe. We went through tobacco farms and we went through horse farms and all the thoroughbred farms, and we came up through Lexington, and it was an interesting trip. I remember Dad and I both looked at each other and we kept saying over and over, man, I'm sure glad we don't have that 41-foot trailer on behind us for some of the places this thing's taking us.
Well, just made it up to the chuck wagon races in Kentucky. And here's our rig still hooked up. Here's another last. This is the last time this will be hooked together like this. We'll put it behind the truck and head for MLS tomorrow. Alright, well, morning of the big trip to Kentucky to pick up Dad's Wildcat. We're all excited about it. We getting things together around here, about to get in the truck and head out, waiting on Dad to change his clothes. I overdid it a couple of days ago, so I sound like a tobacco stops at me commercial. I got a few friends that are flying up to be with us for the big reveal. They're all flying standby, and I got all of them on the same flight when I go out of Dallas, so I really hope they make it. We'll get them checked in on the road. Anyway, it's ought to be good. One way or another, it's going to be memorable. Thank everybody for coming out or tuning in. If you don't know me, my name is Mark. I'm with MLS Powersports. This is my wife, Trish. To my right here are Andy and Dean Horton. We're super blessed to be in a position to be able to do stuff like this, and we're very thankful to all of our customers. We're thankful to our vendors, the folks we work with like Arctic Cat and Textron, and we just want to say thanks. Also really want to thank everybody on the Wildcat Riders Facebook group. They support us like crazy. You guys are awesome. Before we get into the backstory of this one, if you're not familiar with the Revive My Ride builds, well, this is the third year we've done it. Basically, you enter and you just ask. You just say, you don't have to buy from us. You could be from anywhere. These guys are from Oklahoma. You just say, hey, I want my thing fixed up, and here's why. You tell a story. We have generally done it in video format, and then we have a committee that rounds that down to a few folks, and then, or I think we have a top 10, and then we draw randomly from there. So there's no big qualifier to win other than you got to have one of these machines and kind of be into this and pay attention when we do the entries. Before we get into this specific one, I just want to thank our sponsors for this because we just couldn't do it without them, because these are like $30,000, $40,000 builds, and if you had to pay it, and we can't afford that. So the fact that they really help us goes a long way. So first of all, Arctic Cat, man, they just again stepped up and said, whatever you guys need for this build, just do it. And that's huge. That's awesome. Also want to thank PRP Seats, Speed Side-by-Side, Dragonfire, Quad Boss, AJ Side-by-Side, Venom, Moto Alliance, Viper, Octane Inc., AwesomeOffroad.com, Bad Dog Accessories, and MBRP PowerTech. Third year of this. First year was a super nice guy, Larry Carrier. Larry wasn't able to join us today because of family things, but we still love him. He's awesome. Sorry he can't make it. We'll see you soon, Larry. Doc McCoy won last year. Doc is here somewhere. Doc, thank you so much for coming. Doc drove almost 6 hours to get here to support Dean and Andy and to show off his machine. So we're thankful for that, Doc. This year was maybe the hardest year ever. And again, I want to remind everybody what this contest is about. It's not about us. We like to build big racy turbo machines that go fast and all that. But it's not about us, right? So what we want to do is build what they need and what they want. And this one was hard for two reasons. One is Dean's like one of the most amazing guys we've ever met. We kind of all agreed to that, and it's and so that's a lot of pressure, right? It's like trying to do something for your dad or your grandpa, and somebody you really respect and look up to, and so that's a lot of pressure. So that was hard. The other thing that made it hard is he's super humble and he wouldn't tell us anything. So it wasn't like he said, yeah, I want these tires or this look or whatever. So we had to kind of dig into his life and talk to his son and try to figure it out, because he wasn't exactly forthcoming, because he's, again, just such a humble guy. I do want to tell you a little bit of his story. Again, Dean is from DePue, Oklahoma. This is his son, Andy. And the reason Andy's up here is they're a package deal. So they're father and son, and they do this together. They got into this hobby years ago because they have some friends that do this trip to Colorado. And they're here. And some of those friends even joined them, and we got to meet them, have dinner with them last night. Awesome folks. We really enjoyed it. And so this trip is a big deal to them. I mean, it's like several weeks, and they live out in the wilderness and they ride, and it's a big deal. So when they were picking out a machine back in 2014, Dean's wife, Joanne, they called her Joe, went with them, and they went to look at a Prowler, and they ended up with a blue Wildcat X because Joe fell in love with it. She loved the look of the blue, and it was important to her. And Joe, unfortunately, became ill and passed away that first year, back in 14. And so we wanted to honor Joe a little bit in this build, and we also wanted to honor what they do. Andy's a photographer, and he has a lot of storage needs, so how they transport their equipment is a big deal. And then we really wanted to honor Dean, and so what you don't know about Dean, I've never even met, I grew up in the Midwest and Southeast, I've never even met a real cowboy, right? Until Dean. Dean is a real cowboy. And when I say that, I don't mean like he rides a horse once in a while. I mean like he is a real cowboy. I wish we could stand here and have him talk and tell you some of his stories, but, and again, a guy that's just truly worthy of respect. He's a veteran. He stepped on a booby trap in Vietnam and about took his leg off. He won a Purple Heart, a Bronze Star. So he's an American hero. He's my hero. Then he comes back over here, and at 70, is that right? I'm 70. He was 70 now, 68 years old, 2017. He won a race called the Snowy River Race. They call it the toughest 2 minutes in horse racing. And basically it's down mountains and crossing rivers, and stuff that normal humans couldn't do. And Dean won the championship, won that race at 68 years old, which is, again, just amazing to me. The other place where we wanted to tie that into this build was Dean's horse that he rode. And again, as a real cowboy, his horse is a big deal, right? It's not, I like side-by-sides, he's cowboy. So his horse that he rode, and as a horse that he raised, horse's name was Shoes. His Shoes. Shoes still with us, thankfully. But Shoes was injured in that race, and she's okay. She lives a very happy life now, but she's retired. And so she doesn't get raced anymore. So we felt like we had to kind of fill that void a little bit in Dean's life as well. So I'm not going to tell you any more than that. We're just going to roll the machine out, and when it comes out, James Culp, who's our we call him our director of the field wheel spinning department. James does our heavy builds and fabrication and race engines and all that stuff. He really was the guy in charge of this. All of our team helped with it, so thanks to all of them. But James, Dean, and Andy will walk you around it after you guys get to soak it in a little bit, and he'll walk you through some of the details of what he did. So without wasting any more time, thanks again to everybody coming and watching. We're going to roll this machine out, and I'll turn it over to James. Thanks.
Oh my God.
It's awesome.
Our pleasure. Our friends at Moto Alliance or Viper Winches hooked us up with a 5,000-pound winch for you.
Thank you.
Textron and Arctic Cat gave us all the accessories that you see that are from the accessory book. Octane Inc. did all the work, and I'm gonna tell you, they're like, this is one of the hardest wraps we've ever had to do. And I challenged them with that when we originally drew your name out. I came up with the idea that I wanted your vehicle to look like your horse. And so when I presented it to the design guy, he said, horsehair? I said, absolutely horsehair. So that's what the wrap looks like if you get up close to it. You know, you can really tell he spent a lot of time laying the hair down so that it followed how the vehicle, replace your steering, replace the rack pinion, replace the slider, replace everything. Made our own tie rods for it so they're stronger. They got grease fittings on them so you'll be able to grease and maintain it, and it should work flawlessly for years to come. You can see the start of the skid plates. Skid plates are full length from Textron. We knew that width was a big deal to you guys because you didn't want it any wider. So what I did is, if you look at the wheels are actually from a Prowler Pro, brand new vehicle we got on the showroom. So what I did is I took them and I had them repowder coated so that they'd match everything. Actually, when I called to get this wheel, they sent me 3. And I said, where are my other 2 wheels? They're like, oh, they're on back order. They should be here soon. 2 weeks goes by, I still don't have any wheels. I'm like, I need these wheels. They're like, well, they were supposed to be here in January. I said, like, January? They said, yeah, January. I was like, uh-oh. So I knew we had to come up with some wheels, so I talked to Mark. I was like, Mark, I need Prowler Pro wheels. So if you look out, our demo out there has a new set of wheels on it because I borrowed them so I can complete your rig. So, wow. So we did that. Now, Little Bird also told us that you guys have an F-350 sitting around the farm that's got your names on it somewhere. There's one with, I think, your name on the door.
Ain't nobody would have known that.
And your name on the door. So we went ahead and we put your guys' names on your appropriate doors so that you know, at least people know who you are.
Like they don't.
And then also when I brought the design to Octane Inc., I said, man, I want to do something different with the vendor logos. I don't want to put everybody's logo on here, different colors, all that stuff. I said, I want to do something different. I said, can you try and make these things look like brands? He said, well, I'll give it a shot. So we kind of tried to replicate like a brand would be on a horse if it was there. So you can see all the sponsors that gave us everything are there, so we can support them. As we continue back, you'll notice obviously there's a lot of storage in this thing. There's a box in the back, there's a box on the top, there's another box on the other side on the top, and that's all for your guys' gear. You guys said you needed places to store things. There's also a new set of kick pound bags in there. Those other ones were kind of dirty, and Textron said I could have whatever I wanted, so I might have went overboard.
Looks like you did.
But a lot of the concept came because of your storage requirements. Now, there's a very special feature that these boxes have. Okay, one is you need to get to them, right? So, Andy, will you hold my mic? So when you need to get to them, and you just like, I gotta get in my storage box, you just pull it off. Okay, so they come off super easy. Okay, that is a special fastening system they use for overland vehicles that holds cases like this. So they're designed for this. Firefighters use them. They put rifle cases on, all sorts of stuff. So if you ever want to put something different on the roof, you don't want to carry your storage box, you can get with that company and get different plates, and they'll just interchange and snap on whatever you guys want to put on. And they're lockable. Yes, there are keys on there. They're completely lockable, so you can put it there, put a padlock on there. Nobody should walk off with them, right? So Andy, why don't you go ahead and put that back up there. So what you do is you just push it over there, pull it back into the track, and then snap it down. Yep.
Oh, wow.
So, and then if you need to lock it, you press the button. And that drives a pin in there, and it keeps it from coming back out.
That's awesome.
Okay? So, you're like, well, man, I gotta fumble around with a key all the time now? Is that what you're telling me? I'm like, that's terrible. What if I just need to get something real quick out of my box? You hold my mic again? Hold my mic. I'll drop down this foot right here. So you can
I was wondering what that was for. Yeah.
and get in here to get whatever you need out of your box. Okay?
Wow. I seen that step, but that's wow.
So, that's what those steps are for. A lot of functionality was put into this build. As we work farther backwards, you might notice some shiny bits hanging under there. So when Arctic Cat said I could have anything I wanted, I told you I went a little overboard. New differential, all new bushings, all new bearings, all new drive couplers, all new engine, all new exhaust, all new rear differential. I think the list is shorter if you ask me what I didn't replace. So, I think we kept your radiator. But we got you a new fuel tank. Because we knew that was kind of an issue with you guys. So our friends at MVRP also gave you an exhaust, which got rid of that catalytic converter, so it shouldn't ever plug up again on you. Okay? So you have a new 18 engine, so it's got better fuel management, which is also going to keep that from plugging up. So you shouldn't have any worries about heat or anything else happening again. Okay? I did fix your tail light. That was one of the things in particular you had asked me to fix, was to fix the tail light.
Yeah, because what did I say when we left it? I said if it steers good and the left tail light works.
Yep. If it's steered and the left tail light works, so I think I accomplished what you had asked me for.
Thank you.
Next, as we move back, obviously, functionality. So to Arctic Cat, they gave us a set of rotopacks along with everything else that they gave us. Mark was gracious enough to bend those 2 down bars for me. Thank you, Mark.
There they are.
So those two down bars are bent to perfection for you. So that led into the functionality where you guys had asked us, can we carry a spare tire? So we got you to be able to carry a spare tire. We also got you a storage box by Bad Dog, which is just going to add more to that storage you guys wanted. And if you ever have to, and you do need to change your... We talked about that train earlier, folks. Anyway, under that storage box, I did cut and put your panel in to change your spark plug, in case you ever have to do that again. So it is there, you just gotta take the box out, okay? All right, so it's still easy maintenance and everything. Our fellows from Venom gave me a clutch kit, because I knew the sand dunes were a little hard for you guys, so we did some clutching on it. A lot of what our guys like out here. So it should keep you in the lower gear a little bit longer, give you a little more power, a little more torque for those sandy conditions. So it should be fine, should still run the same, but just have a little more grunt. Awesome Off-Road gave us all our lights, couple in the back, and ones on the front and everything like that. As you can see, the blue kind of comes throughout until we get to the very back where we have a tribute to your wife and your mother. We thought it was very important, and when we saw the names on the doors and then Andy's name on the tailgate, we figured it'd be best if we honored that. So, well, now that we're done with the outside, you want to go to the inside? Yep, high lifter clearance bars in the back, so that you don't have to worry about dragging those or bending those on anything else. There you go. We've all been there. All right, come on over. Let's look inside. So the first thing they noticed immediately when we looked at it was we took Dean's winning belt buckle from 2017 and his Snowy River race champion, and we embroidered it into the seat. So he will forever see that and be honored that he accomplished this amazing feat. So, following in the inside, we heard radios were a very big thing for you guys. It's how you guys communicate. It's how you talk between each other. And you guys had asked for a little different mounting situation there. So what we did is we cleaned up the mounting so you can use your cup holders again. I made a custom mount for the intercom that took all the switches out of the dash, so everything's nice and clean and installed in there. The mic is on a magnet, so you don't have to worry about like hooking it. You just toss it on the dash and that big old magnet it'll grab the mic. So extremely well functioned. When I took your switches though, I had no place for all our accessories. So we use this amazing product from Switch Pros that has it has 8 switches on it, and it's controlled by a CAN bus to another computer system and power distribution box, so that we can operate all your devices on that panel or via Bluetooth on your phone. So you can turn everything on and off as long as you're in Bluetooth range of this machine. Along with custom mounting your radio, you also said the buttons drove you crazy with the wires dangling and all that stuff. So I think I solved that issue by mounting your button up high with the coily cord around the wheel. Passenger button is on the door handle over there. Therefore, you don't have to take it in and out when you take your seat in and out. That way, functionality is super easy. Glass windshield washer, wiper, in case you get a little mud up on there, no problem. Switches are down there on your panel. Just go ahead and turn them on. You never know when you get a little bit of mud. Exactly. It's gonna happen. We also put in a headset hanger from Rugged. So when your headsets aren't in use, you can leave them plugged in and just toss them up there on the hook.
And we don't know whose is whose.
Yeah. We got some
We
stories
may have a
behind that.
problem with that. Yeah, we're plugging them into the wrong, because we used to the plugs were in the center over here.
The plugs are still in the center. They're right there. They're marked exactly the same.
Yeah.
Everything is as it was.
Well, yeah. He's got our headsets. Yeah.
Other than that, guys, you know, that's it.
That's it? That's hard
That's
to
it.
believe.
We're done.
That's it?
Wow, that is awesome.
You know, they took that machine that needed some help and made it into this ultimate mountain machine. We took it back out there this year, and the trip was just phenomenal. I mean, it was incredible. You know, it was all centered around this machine. I mean, it was Shoes 2 here has been just an incredible ride. It's like they thought of everything. I mean, everything that you would want on a machine to take to the mountains anywhere. You know, it was in this machine, from the windshield to, you know, I mean, it's got heated seats. I mean, it's got everything you can imagine in it, and it's humbling, you know, to see that we weren't like #1 customers of MLS Powersports or you know, Arctic Cat or Textron or any of these sponsors. I mean, to see them all come together for somebody that, you know, they didn't have a clue who we were. You know, I mean, to open the contest to anybody like they did really speaks a lot to everyone's character involved. We're super thankful for everything that they did. We're planning to make the trip. We've got our spot reserved and everything for Wicked Wildcat Weekend. We're really looking forward to seeing everybody again, and certainly hope that they are able to keep doing what they're doing, that they're able to keep pulling these sponsors together and helping somebody out like they helped us out, because it's been one amazing ride. I mean, they really did a good job of keeping everything in mind that we suggested. They did a good job of keeping my mother in mind, and I really think she would have loved it. I think she would have enjoyed it. It's a great tribute to her, and it captured my dad's personality and his character 100% perfect. I mean, anyone who meets him for any length of time, it doesn't take very long to figure out that he's 100% cowboy. And modeling this machine after his favorite horse is just, I mean, you hit it right between the eyes. I mean, you couldn't have done a better job of it. Mark, actually, he calls me and puts me on a conference call with James, gives me the wraps that they had in mind, and James, he was 100% with this horsehair pattern, because it was his overall design. You know, it tied everything together, and of course, you know, I don't know that anybody else could really see it at the time. That design, and they send me a couple of alternatives, I think 3 or 4 alternatives, and of course that one was it was on the wilder end of everything that they sent me. And they told me to choose, and they left me hanging in silence on the phone for about 5 minutes with me trying to figure out how to get my way out of making this decision. And ultimately, it all kind of came down to, and I don't know if I said it at the time, but it really came down to the fact that we knew that the designer had an overall plan in mind, and I think that had we deviated from that, I think it would have hurt the overall scheme of the build. So I'm really glad that we went the way we did, that we stuck with the plan. It turned out awesome. I mean, you couldn't ask for any better. I mean, it nailed Dad just as square as you could hit his character. I mean, it hit him perfect. The crew at MLS, man, they were, and the Textron reps, I mean, they were just super awesome people. They treated me and my dad and our friends that came with us to be there for Dad, they treated us all like kings and queens. I mean, it was incredible. They spoiled Dad rotten. It was awesome. And there's not a more deserving guy out there. I mean, it's just, not only just because he's my dad. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a really good relationship with my dad, but to see him to get something back, you know, I mean, he deserves that better than just about anyone I know. And to see that come full circle is it's heartwarming, to say the least.